the left has gone a little mad with trans issues. Some have expressed that opinion with literary sophistication, like J.K. Rowling. Some by getting big laughs, like Dave Chappelle. And some are downright ugly about it, like Linehan. But ugly is the price of a freedom so great as speech. Get this, Saudi Arabia is having a comedy festival this month. Really, Saudi Arabia. It's gonna be great. If you on stage, you get 72 virgins. And Chappelle is performing. If you told me years ago that Saudi Arabia would be cool to have Dave Chappelle speak and England might arrest him, I would have said, what are you?
If you thought the backlash against J.K. Rowling and free speech was dying down, think again. The last few weeks have unleashed a brand new storm, louder, harsher, and more aggressive than ever. But then Bill Maher stepped into the chaos. Armed with sharp humor, cold logic, and zero patience for nonsense, he tore the arguments apart in real time. Buckle up, hit subscribe, and let's break it all down.
The most powerful witch hunters now were coming from Twitter, the Ivy League, and the progressive left. J.K. Rowling used to be a villain to the right because she wrote books about witchcraft. Now she's a villain to the left because she has the crazy belief that there's more to being a woman than pronouns and lipstick. So that was the point of the evening. How do we take a stand against cancel?
Maher kicks things off by explaining why the attacks on J.K. Rowling suddenly intensified. According to him, the outrage isn't about new statements or shifting facts, it's about defiance. Rowling hasn't backed down. She continues to argue that biological sex matters, especially in women's sports and women-only spaces, and that these topics deserve open debate, not enforced silence. In today's climate, that alone is enough to spark outrage. Online activists have once again turned up the pressure, hoping relentless backlash will finally force her to retreat. Maher isn't impressed. Instead of condemning her, he applauds her resolve, pointing out how rare it's become for a public figure to withstand non-stop attacks without apologizing. To Maher, Rowling represents a vanishing trait, the courage to stand firm when conformity is demanded.
Plenty of non-crazy people, liberal people, who think the left has gone a little mad with trans issues. Some have expressed that opinion with literary sophistication, like J.K. Rowling. Some by getting big laughs, like Dave Chappelle. And some are downright ugly about it, like Linehan. But ugly is the price of a freedom so great as speech. Trump tried to disappear someone for writing an anti-Israel op-ed in a student newspaper, which I found offensive, but I still would go to the mat for that person to be able to print it. And we can fight Trump on this because we have a First Amendment.
Maher widens the lens, noting that over the past decade, countless people have paid a heavy price simply for speaking honestly. Careers derailed. Reputations torched. Lives disrupted, not by courts, but by online mobs. He warns this path is dangerous for any society. Free speech, he argues, only means something when it protects opinions that make people uncomfortable. That doesn't mean speech is consequence-free or above criticism. Some words can cross serious legal lines. But Maher draws a firm boundary. When laws are broken, it's the legal system's job to respond, not digital pitchforks and viral outrage campaigns. Justice shouldn't be crowdsourced.
Individuals and organizations who others have tried to silence and who answered, "That's not a rule." Our first award goes to the president of my alma mater, Cornell University, Martha Pollack. This month, students there demanded trigger warnings before all the lectures in case any of the adult subjects you specifically went to college to learn about came up. And Martha said, "Yeah, no, we're not doing that." She didn't cave in or hire a new dean of sensitivity. She just said, "No, college is for introducing you to new ideas, not for kissing your ass and making you feel wonderful and always right."
Rowling wasn't the only target Maher spotlighted. He also pointed to a Cornell University lecturer who refused to censor language simply because students found it uncomfortable. When pressured to sanitize speech, the professor pushed back, arguing that discomfort isn't harm and that universities exist to challenge ideas, not shelter students from them. Invoking the First Amendment, he bluntly reminded students that hearing things you dislike is part of living in a free society. Predictably, outrage erupted. Demands for apologies and punishment followed. Maher sided firmly with the lecturer, saying this incident perfectly exposes the modern campus crisis, a culture where personal offense is treated as more important than constitutional rights.
Joes, who for years have been selling a line of ethnically themed products, trading on the name Joe. For example, they have Trader Jose's beer. So, of course, one teenager on Twitter heard the word Jose and said it was racist, and then there was a petition, and then Trader Joe's management did the right thing. They burnt down all their stores. No, they didn't. They said, "F you oversensitive little shit."
Cancel culture, Maher argues, no longer stops at individuals. It now targets entire companies. The moment a brand steps out of ideological line, the outrage machine revs up. Hashtags trend. Boycotts are threatened. Public apologies are demanded. For years, this strategy worked flawlessly. Companies panicked, caved, and begged forgiveness. But Maher points out something important has changed. The fear is wearing off. More organizations are realizing that surrender never ends the attacks, it only invites the next one. Instead of folding, some companies are choosing to stand their ground. And when institutions stop rewarding outrage, the power of cancellation begins to collapse.
A guy called a politician a Pimmel, which is the German word for and it triggered a police raid. What a Pimmel move. A guy from North Yorkshire in Britain faced 2 years in prison for wearing a Halloween costume depicting the terrorist who bombed the Ariana Grande concert. Bad taste? Yeah, bad taste is the whole point of Halloween.
Maher then zooms out globally, reminding viewers that America's speech battles pale in comparison to what happens elsewhere. In many countries, free expression isn't controversial, it's dangerous. Across parts of Europe, speech laws are tightening, with people fined or investigated for online opinions. In much of Asia, criticizing authority can carry severe consequences. In some regimes, dissent doesn't cost you a platform, it costs you your freedom. Maher's warning is blunt: free speech is rare, fragile, and easy to lose. Once a society decides certain ideas are too dangerous to hear, silencing spreads fast.
And was found guilty of hate speech for a YouTube video where he taught his pug to salute when he said Sieg Heil.
Sieg Heil! Sieg Heil!
Elon Musk watched it and said, "I don't see it." But, you know, Musk, Kanye, this dog, they're all wrong and they all have the right to...
Maher delivers a message the permanently outraged hate hearing. People have the right to be wrong and the right to say things you disagree with. That's not a flaw in free speech. That is free speech. Disagreement isn't violence. Discomfort isn't danger. And offense isn't oppression. But outrage culture treats them as interchangeable. Maher warns that once individuals believe their personal belief should be enforced on everyone else, free expression dies quickly. A healthy society doesn't require agreement. It requires tolerance for ideas we dislike.
Is now considering the so-called pub law. Okay, it's not just about pubs. It's a workplace bill aimed at preventing any kind of harassment in the workplace, including verbal remarks overheard. Okay, problem is a pub is a workplace, so is a bookstore. Would a major chain like Waterstones risk hosting a book signing by a controversial author like J.K. Rowling? And pubs? People go to pubs for two reasons: to drink and to exercise their inalienable right to talk.
One truth cancel culture refuses to face is simple. Silencing opinions doesn't eliminate them, it compresses them. When people aren't allowed to speak openly, resentment builds beneath the surface. Maher compares free speech to a pressure valve. It allows bad ideas to be challenged, mocked, or dismantled in public. Remove that outlet, and those ideas don't disappear, they harden. History shows suppression doesn't create harmony. It breeds backlash, extremism, and instability. Messy as it is, open speech remains society's safest release mechanism.
Not in the House of Lords. They're in a bar called the Drunken Cock. Any Brit will tell you the food is awful, the weather's but at least you can call each other a cunt. And now that's gone? It's like making a rule at the dog park: no ass sniffing.
Maher argues that Britain, in particular, needs to relax its aggressive policing of speech. Silencing expression doesn't neutralize harmful ideas, it hides them. When people speak freely, society gains visibility into what's really brewing beneath the surface. That visibility matters. Maher suggests free speech can act as an early warning system, revealing problems before they explode. People almost always broadcast their intentions through words before actions follow. When speech is driven underground, authorities are left reacting too late. Open expression isn't reckless, it's preventative.
Saudi Arabia is having a comedy festival this month. Really? Saudi Arabia. It's gonna be great. If you on stage, you get 72 virgins. And Chappelle is performing. If you told me years ago that Saudi Arabia would be cool to have Dave Chappelle speak and England might arrest him, I would have said, what?
In a twist of irony, Maher notes that even countries once notorious for speech control are beginning to loosen up. Some tightly managed societies are realizing that open expression isn't the threat they were warned about. He points to Saudi Arabia inviting outspoken comedians, performers who thrive on honesty, exaggeration, and boundary-pushing humor. Comedy survives on truth, and allowing it signals a subtle cultural shift. What's striking, Maher says, is the contrast. While some restrictive nations cautiously open up, many Western societies seem increasingly uncomfortable with dissent. The irony is impossible to ignore. And that wraps up today's video. If you enjoyed it, hit like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more.